So, welcome back to another episode of the Let's Chat Derbyshire podcast. Today we are in beautiful Derbyshire, having a little walk. We are joined by Danielle. So I know Danielle through our partnership work we do on the rail, and she leads on suicide prevention work in it. So we're having a chat about getting out in nature, highs and lows, I guess, around mental health, and just how to make the most of the beautiful Derbyshire landscape. But just before we begin, just a reminder that if you do go out and enjoy the lovely nature, that please do be equipped. Make sure you've got solid footwear on, hiking boots, walking trainers. You've got a rucksack with your water, waterproof, and all of that stuff. Because the weather can change. It was meant to be lovely and sunny today, and now it's grey and miserable and a bit cold. So I would always recommend that if you do go out, make sure you don't leave your litter or stuff like that, because we want to be able to look after the countryside as best we can. So, boring bit out of the way. Danielle, how are you doing out of 10 today?
How am I doing out of 10 today? Well, I'm walking through the Derbyshire Dales, is it? Or in the
Peak District, is it?
Whichever one we are in, it's beautiful. So I'm obviously in a really, really good space right now because I'm doing what I love. But overall, no, I'm in a really, really good place.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm in a really, really good place nowadays. And
great.
It's been a journey to get to it.
Yeah. Just
like everybody else has that journey. And we're all on a journey, and that journey can take twists and turns, but right now, really good.
Really good. Yeah. That's really good to hear, and it's lovely being able to get out, not being sat in a room, and just have a chat. So I guess, just to start us off, I guess if you can just give us a bit of background of your journey, of, now you're working on the rail, but maybe looking back, when you were younger, what you were up to. And maybe when you start to notice when there were times that your mental health might have taken a bit of a dip.
Yeah, I mean, where to start? What I would say is buckle up. I would say buckle up.
Buckle up for the ride.
So I'm from a small village in Nottinghamshire.
Yeah.
And sort of growing up, there wasn't a lot to do, as you can imagine. So me and my friends used to hang out, get up to no good, the usual stuff. And I think over the course of my childhood, it led me to hang around with maybe the not so pleasant people in society, let's just say, and those that probably didn't have my best interests at heart.
Yeah.
And I got into some bits and bobs, and it wasn't healthy for me or anybody. My mum and dad were at the end of the tether with me at some point. I come from a really good family. There's absolutely nothing that my parents have ever done wrong.
Yeah.
Really loving family. I want them for nothing and whatnot. But I think for me the big change when I was growing up, that sort of led me to take the path that I've ultimately taken career choice wise, was because I was in a car accident, and that person driving the car was under the influence of substances.
Yeah.
Obviously I'd got into that car myself. I hadn't been forced in that car, so and we were driving through the village that I lived and grew up as a child, and we unfortunately hit a young man who was crossing the road. He'd just been dropped off after football practice.
Yeah.
And a couple of days later, that young lad died in hospital, and that was the point that everything changed for me.
Yeah.
And it just reminded me that behaviours can be so harmful, and what seems like fun, it can have a deadly consequence for people, and so that was the point that I made it my life mission to be a bit of a do-gooder.
Yeah, I love it.
To give back what I felt I'd taken out of society, really. So
it must have been really hard though, obviously, when that happened. It's quite a traumatic incident, isn't it?
It was horrific, yeah. It was
being so young as well, and it must have been really difficult.
I mean, I was 17 when that happened, and it was horrific. The impact that it had on everybody going through coroner's court process as well, and the police investigation around it. The driver went to prison. There was so many so many terrible outcomes from that. Not to mention that this young lad had lost his life, and obviously there was a grieving family involved.
Yeah.
And it was just horrific. But it was the point that I decided to remove myself from that sort of group of people and take a different path. And it took me a little while to find out exactly what I wanted to do, but that's when I joined the probation service. And I joined the probation service as what was called an outreach mentor. And I supported probation officers sort of with their clients, with their service users. And I would be the one that would sort of accompany service users to various appointments, support them outside of that rehabilitation plan. And it was a really rewarding job, and I got a lot out of it, and I felt like they got a lot out of it as well. And I think essentially I did really well in the role, and sort of got promoted quite quickly, and went to do my training as an offender manager. And then I went to work in the prisons, actually. Went to work in the prisons, which was like a baptism by fire.
I can imagine. That must have been out the pan into the fire with.
I think at that point I was about 22, something like that. So it was quite
fresh.
It was interesting. Some very interesting characters in there.
Wow.
Definitely. But obviously we're out on a walk now, so bear with the guys because I have to check the map.
We need to make sure where we're going, because we've already got lost, haven't we?
We have got lost a few times.
We're going down the hill.
I think we're gonna go down there, I think, and then go straight across. Right.
This is a lovely walk. If anyone wanted to know, we started at Grindleford Station, walked up Padley, and then round sort of Longshore over to Surprise View and sort of back down. So it's a lovely walk, isn't it? To be fair, it's nice and easy. I feel like I'm going to fall over, but
this is a terrible time to be recording.
So how long were you in the probation service for then?
Oh, I was there for... Oh, crikey me, this is a bit where I fall, I think. Oh,
fuck off! This is definitely...
whose idea was it to record a podcast?
I should have probably risk assessed this, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
I feel like I've identified there is a risk with me falling.
But that's why it's fun.
It is fun, I love it.
So you're coming along for the ride.
Yeah, I wouldn't want it any other way.
So I was in the probation service for 13 years. I sort of worked in all different departments of probation. So I worked in the prisons, I worked in general offender management, I did community service. So obviously when people are sort of doing like manual tasks and stuff to, repay that debt to society. I worked in approved premises. So I did a bit of everything. And I think, in line with the topic about what we're talking about today, that exposed me to people, all walks of life, people at different stages of their life, people that were going through it. And I got a lot out of supporting other people, but I have to admit, I feel like that took a lot out of me. I guess burnout must have been a hard one, and just a mental resilience, I guess, to be able to deal with quite challenging behaviour, I can imagine. Definitely. You're dealing with people possibly in the worst place of their life. Some people want to change, of course they do, and rehabilitative work works with some people. It doesn't with others. You have to be ready for that journey.
Definitely.
And I was sort of going along with that journey with them. So it was a testing career, it really was, and I've never wanted an easy life, me. So that's why I went with it. But so the probation service was the probation service. Very, very interesting job. And then I think things in my personal life changed quite significantly towards the end of my career as a probation officer, and this is where I experienced my own personal sort of massive ups and downs and challenges, and that was through being in what I can only describe as an incredibly toxic relationship. And we all sort of think we would never get ourselves in that position, don't we? We just think,
100%.
We've got our eyes wide open, we're decent people, but we're never going to find ourselves in that situation. We'd see it way before it got to anything toxic. But actually, I think that wasn't the case, and I think this individual eroded me over time, and And it became a point where I thought, what on earth has happened?
Yeah.
How am I here? So obviously I was dealing with a very, very difficult job, dealing with people with their own challenges, and I had my own to contend with as well.
Yeah.
It was a very, very difficult time. There's no debating that. It was a very, very difficult time. And I wanted to, when I finally removed myself from that relationship, I wanted to change everything.
Yeah.
I just wanted to press that massive reset button and just go, I just want to do something completely different. I don't want anything that's going to remind me of where I am right now.
Yeah.
And one of the careers that I've always wanted to do since being a little girl, really, I think, even though most of the time as a little girl I spent my time on the wrong side of this.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be a police officer. By the way, on camera, you've seen me wiping my nose repeatedly. It's because it's very cold. It's very cold.
It's cold and hay fever. Right? When you were in that relationship, so we spoke before, and I was in a similar relationship, and you just don't see it coming. I think that's the biggest thing for anyone. Maybe I don't know, thinking that they might be in a toxic, abusive, sort of relationship.
Yeah.
I think it's okay that you don't know. I didn't see it coming, and then one day I was just like, oh my god, I cannot believe this is happening. I've not seen my family in months. So, been isolated financially and stuff. So it's okay, isn't it? I think to sort of reach out for support at whatever stage you're at.
Absolutely.
Or just make that call if you're comfortable enough to just make that call and leave. If it's safe, then do.
And that's sort of easier said than done, as we both know.
It really is.
When you're the easiest, everyone's advice is leave them, and it never feels as easy as that.
No, it really
that
doesn't.
person's worked on you for a long time, and they've eroded your confidence.
Very cleverly as well. I think that's what I noticed. Looking back, it's still hard to spot some of the signs.
Yeah. And I think what people need to understand as well, and if anybody is sort of going through this right now, is that to be kind to yourself, because I was very much a very independent, very bolshy character, and I never thought anyone would be able to manipulate me or control me in the way that person did. And I think one of the hardest things for me about that whole situation was that, ultimately, did I allow that to happen? I should have prevented that from happening, and why didn't I? And I think it genuinely can happen to anybody. I know really, really strong people that find themselves in that situation, or have found themselves in that situation. And hindsight's a beautiful thing. I mean, I can sit here and say now, sort of 6, 7 years out of that relationship, that I didn't see it coming. I didn't see it coming. And I think, when I look forward into other relationships now, I've always got that relationship in the back of my mind, and it does.
I think God's always up as well. It took me a long time. I think so. I sort of did. I think different to you. After that relationship, I tried to jump back into another one to try and find that safety.
Yeah.
But it's really hard. I don't think you can, and it took me a good few years to be able to, I think, work on myself. To be able to be in a place to trust someone again.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I think.
Oh, we've got doggies that have joined us.
Hello,
doggies.
Hello.
Hello, doggies.
Morning. Yeah. For anyone sort of going through it, there's the Elm Foundation in Derbyshire. We'll put some information in the description. Or if anyone you're worried about, you can ring them and ask for some advice in that situation. But
definitely reach out to people. Don't feel any shame, because you don't understand what's really going off, and all you know is that you should be doing something, you should be getting out of it, or you should be doing this. That's what everyone's telling you, and you just can't physically bring yourself to do that. But you shouldn't hold any shame about that. That's because your mental health is not in a good spot, and who functions very well when your mental health is in tatters.
It's so true.
You're not thinking straight, you're not making good decisions.
No.
So it's just, it might take a little bit of time to actually get the courage together and be in a place where you can leave that relationship, but it will happen. You've just got to get the right support around you until you do.
Definitely.
But it will happen, and once you do, and you start to rebuild your life. It's really empowering, and I know now, looking back at that period of my life, it's just a huge lesson for me now, and it's made me who I am. You know, I think everything that happens in your life, and no matter good or the bad, it shapes who you are now and the things that you place massive value on.
And that's so. I guess that's what sort of led you to the police, wasn't it? Those values, lessons that you'd learned, the situations you'd been in, sort of pushed you, into that. How was that for you? Because we've lived a similar life, I guess, haven't we? I think in a way. Because I was in the police when I was in the sort of horrible relationships, so slightly different. But what happened for you?
So the police came around at a really nice time, actually, because like I say, I'd sort of hit that reset button. I wanted to do something for me now. I wanted to claw back that power. And I was feeling empowered because I'd managed to get myself out of something that I couldn't initially get myself out of. So I applied for the police, and I was accepted. I went through, obviously, the process, and actually when I went into police training, that was just when the lockdown hit.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we went into lockdown just as I went into the sort of classroom part of the police training.
Wow.
So it was a very strange time.
I bet.
To start, but it was a nice focus because everybody else was thinking the world was ending. They were doing the gardens, and they were, trying to do whatever they could to sort of keep entertained and keep their minds away from what on earth was going on in the world. But I had a really, really nice focus because it was about my career, and it was interesting, and it was just new and fresh. And it was really cool. But policing during COVID times was an interesting time, And I think the police, I think we took slightly different paths with our police career. So I entered on something called a fast track to DC scheme, which is where you are sort of destined for CID, and so I spent a proportion of time on response, which is your sort of usual policing, which when I describe to people, I always say the same thing. It's your Nina, you know, self-policing. And so I did sort of 4 months or so on Nina policing. And then I went into CID. Now that was a interesting transition.
I can imagine.
Very, very interesting. For those that sort of are not too familiar with sort of policing, CIDs is the department within the police that tends to deal with more complex and serious crime. And to become a detective, you have to do quite a bit of additional training. You have to pass exams and stuff. So it was full on, but it was a positive focus. It was a positive focus. And unfortunately, as you can imagine, and Luke, you'll definitely be able to resonate with that. Sorry, I'm blowing my nose again. We spend the whole time
me sniffling,
sniffling, coughing, or one or the other, or if you're watching this,
lovely audio. People, even if you're just listening to it, just take a moment to really appreciate Danielle's sniffles.
Take it all in, guys. Take it all in. Yeah, I'll be like Rudolph by the time. It's going to probably just get redder and redder before your eyes. So what I was saying is that I think, again, like I said, Luke, you'll be able to resonate with this because of your time in the police as well. Policing is very challenging, and it's challenging because, well, let me ask you this question. Have you ever phoned the police for a good thing?
Yeah, that's true.
Have you ever had to ring the police for something good that's happened?
So, it's when life's at its worst, isn't it?
Yeah. Every single instant you go out to, someone's either been hurt, someone's been, robbed, or they've had something taken away from them or damaged. It's never a good call. No. So you're dealing with people that have been victims of crime, or people that have obviously committed crime. So you're dealing with some really, really challenging people, and some really, really upset and distressed people as well. And that naturally is going to take its toll on you as a person. And even though I was 33 when I joined as a police officer, and obviously I'd got 13 years experience of being a probation officer behind me, which equipped me really well, I think, for the job. And what really worried me about policing as well, when I went in there, is that there were so many young cops. And they're sort of fresh out of school or university, and they've gone straight into this job. So I'd got all that life experience, and I got that experience of working with criminals, and I understood offending behaviour, and you know, I'd been in some touch and go situations, but can't imagine doing that, going straight from, you know, right, straight from a learning environment or a part-time job maybe or something into the world of policing. I think it's bonkers that there
is on another world, isn't it? I think so. When I was 21, so I'd left school at 16, worked a bit, and even for me, I think you just see things that no one else has to ever see. Really, don't you? And nothing prepares you for it, I don't think.
No, absolutely not. I mean, no amount of classroom education can prepare you for what you're going to see when you walk through those doors, or what you're going to face. Because, you know, people don't think twice nowadays about attacking the police as well. You know, your presence as a police officer isn't enough to calm any storm. If something's kicking off, it continues to kick off when you arrive a lot of the time. It's but I think for me, one of the things that stays with me, and probably will always stay with me, and why I find suicide prevention work so rewarding and such a massively important part of my current job, is because unfortunately attending suicides was a huge part of my job. As a police officer, or specifically as a detective, we would go out to suicides, and we would have to deal with the families obviously involved, and it formed part of the investigation around, you know, the coroner's report and things like that. So it was very difficult, and you never get used to that. As much as you kind of know what to expect, and you're semi-prepared for it. I've never ever rocked up at a scene where there's been a suicide calm. My anxiety has always been all over the place, and although very much a swan moment, you wouldn't know that from the outside, or on the inside. Someone's lost their life, and
each one, even though some of them are similar, each one's so different. So you can never prepare yourself. I didn't find you could anyway for it, because it was different.
Visually, I mean, obviously all very different. Do you want the bad news or the bad news?
How far wrong have we gone?
We've gone very wrong.
Oh wow, it's brilliant. As we have gone wrong. We've not gone wrong because we wanted to show you this lovely building here. So we're just trying to get our steps in for today, aren't we?
Well, actually, we've not got massively wrong. No, we're just going to be the railways alongside us now, so we're going to sort of head back
like that.
Look where we started.
Can't complain, can we?
So obviously suicide was a big part of the role, and what was very interesting, and still remains quite an interesting fact, is that the whole time whilst I worked in the police as a detective, every single suicide that I attended was a man.
Wow.
It was a man, and sort of varying ages, I would have to say, anything between 30 and 60 maybe, normally. But all men. And I think one of the common denominators within that was that they didn't seek help. They didn't speak to anybody. Loved ones were none the wiser that they were struggling. They were always so shocked. And that was the hardest thing for them to deal with. Why have they done that? And that was tough. And I think leaving the police, I think that will forever stay with me, the contact I had with bereaved families, the impact of suicide on those people. And, you know, as us cops as well, we'd come back from it a little bit numb. Definitely. You have all your evidence bags with you, stuff where you've taken things from the house or wherever it is that this individual has been, you know, and then you're sort of left a bit numb, left in your own thoughts to think, what on earth have I just seen and witnessed? Moving on to sort of my career now, so I think you alluded to it at the start of the the podcast that I work on the railway. I'm what they call a community safeguarding and security manager, so I lead on everything safeguarding, and one of my work streams is suicide prevention, and that's obviously what's brought me and you to work together. And we think about, you know, initiatives that we can do in the community to support people, to prevent them ultimately from considering.
Yeah, because even though obviously you do focus on the railway, I think a lot of your suicide prevention work isn't railway focused.
No.
You know, because it's about the community, isn't it? The community that the railway serves, and how we can work together to support them. And I think that's so great to see when we do work together, don't we?
We do. And railways are a massive part of the community as well. So, I mean, we're walking alongside one at the moment, and I've no doubt that railway is a real sort of integral part of this community, and it's well used, and you know, a lot of the heritage buildings, so they're part of like our history, aren't they? So, you know, it's although I work for the railway, you're very right in saying that you're serving the community. So the community matters as well.
Definitely.
But that experience that we spoke about over this sort of podcast, all of those experiences has brought me to the work that I do now, and hopefully I can put it to good use with, you know, what I know about people, the lead up maybe sometimes to people feeling quite low, but to sort of bring it back to myself and my own mental health. I mean, you could only imagine the toll that does take on an individual. I think being exposed to traumatic situations and upset and, you know, death. You know, we can't deny that as well. I'm only human, and there's only so much people can take, I guess, before it becomes really quite damaging for them. And I've certainly had my moments where I felt very, very, very low, and I guess worried about sort of where to go with those emotions, you know, how to deal with them, because I started to feel disinterested in things that I would really usually be very interested in, and I guess hiking was one of the things that came into this, that when I wanted to focus, I've always been really active, I've always been a gym goer and whatnot. But
did it slowly come on, would you say? You know, there's, you know, just over time you were maybe not going out walking as much, or maybe not going to the gym as much, and it was just that sort of wearing down over time of
exactly
stuff.
That, it just started. I'd turn up at the gym, but it would be exactly that. I'd just turn up at the gym, I wasn't really doing much and stuff, and then I just felt like I needed to jazz it up a little bit and do something a little bit different. And actually I've never been an outdoorsy person, ever. Never been an outdoors, far from, in fact. A spot of rain and I'm running, I'm gone. So it's so for me to sit here now, sort of, I mean, how many years on me? Probably about 5 years, I would say, since I started hiking, to say that I was going to say rain or shine, I'd be out hiking, but that's not actually true. I am a little bit of a confessed fair weather hiker. I'm not going to lie. But definitely the person stood here now is not. I didn't think I would be like this. I didn't think I would enjoy the things that I love being out and about with just me and nobody else but the rolling hills or the running water or whatever it be. In my own thoughts, just kind of putting everything into place in my head, and I always come back from a hike so grounded and just sort of, you know, I know what's going off and everything's just gone back into place and whatnot. Not to mention the fact that I've met some incredible people through hiking as well.
That's true.
Some of my closest friends are hikers, and it's been a great way of getting exercise as well as clearing your mind, improving your mental health. And I know a lot of people as well that started hiking specifically for the mental health.
I find it's been a lifesaver for me, I think. Just being able to come out, and like you were saying, it's those sounds, smells, and just the quietness. And I hate being left with my own thoughts, but when I'm outside, you just feel that safety net.
Absolutely,
So, welcome back. I know, you can actually see us now. Danielle will be stopped snot bubbling everywhere. I'll stop coughing everywhere.
Slightly red nose, but
But we're back in Grindleford Station Cafe, so hopefully you'll be able to hear us okay. I'm sure you will. We were just talking actually while we were getting a coffee, just about, I think when you're in that relationship, how you can forgive the person, but how hard it is to forgive yourself. And yeah, it's just really challenging, I think, isn't it, to sort of get over that, to be able to trust, to start finding a new relationship. And yeah, you were just saying how long it's taken.
Yeah.
What do you think was the most difficult part around that?
Definitely, I mean, what we were talking about in terms of you don't really know what to expect from other people. So you just alluded to it just there, sort of saying that you can forgive the other person, or at least forget.
Forget. Yeah.
But I think it takes a long time to forgive yourself for falling into something you probably didn't think that you ever would, or behaving in a way that you didn't think you ever would. And I think that's been the hardest thing for me, without a shadow of a doubt. Not the fact that I was in a controlling, abusive relationship. It was the fact that I allowed it to happen, essentially, which is what it feels like. Which anyone that's been through it knows it's not as cut and dry as that. But that's essentially kind of how it leaves you feeling.
It's really tough,
done
isn't
something
it?
about it, and you didn't.
So when you left the police, obviously things must have built up a lot. It was a really challenging job anyway, I take my hat off to all police people, and it's just so demanding, isn't it? You burn out, I think, so often. I know I did. I guess what got you getting outdoors? What was the perk of it?
It was, obviously, a lot of people started going outdoors during lockdown. I think those that are younger generation that are hiking now definitely started during lockdown, and it's just sort of stuck.
All of you slotting yourself in that, the younger generation.
A little bit, well, not so young anymore. But Lou did say I don't look my age, so...
You don't look your age, you're 40. She's 40.
40, yeah.
Alright, nearly 40. That was mental, but you don't look 40.
Yeah, well...
That was mental.
You can come again.
Yeah.
So I think, so during lockdown I was busy training, obviously, to be a cop, and busy sort of carving out a new career for myself. So I wasn't really doing it then. But it was probably not so long after. I think it was like 2021 that I started, or I first climbed a mountain, let's say. Obviously I walk and stuff. Everyone walks through fields and things like that. But I went to the Lake District and I hiked my first mountain called Bowfell.
Oh, nice.
So Bowfell is in the Langdale area of the Lake District, and it's really beautiful. Really nice around there. And I think it helped that the conditions were 10-10. It was sunny, but it was frosty. It had a little bit of a cloud inversion. It's like everything aligned, and it was perfect. It was like somebody was trying to say to me, "You'll love this. This is for you." Like, they wanted to make it the best time ever, so I was sort of hooked. And then, I kid you not, every single weekend for probably about a year, I would be driving up to the Lake District to climb mountains.
That's miles now. It's getting the miles in, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
And I started doing the Wainwrights. So
how many have you done?
I've done 137, and there's 214, so I've still got a way to go.
Oh, wow.
But it's not something you want to hurry through. You just want to enjoy it.
You want to enjoy it,
What it does do, and anybody listening that wants to get into hiking, highly recommend doing the Wainwrights, because what that does is it forces you to go to areas of the Lake District that you probably wouldn't have gone to otherwise. You stick to the usual, your Helvellans, your Scarfells, the very, very, very beaten path. But believe you me, there's some incredible routes out there that you never hear anybody talking about.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I think I got the bug very quickly.
Nice.
And a side effect of that was, how it improved everything else in my life. My fitness got better. My mental health was so much better. My relationships with my family and friends were better, because when I worked with them, I was going off and doing stuff for me, and I loved it. And I met new friends through hiking as well that gave my life a new perspective. And obviously we shared a lot of similar interests, which was really nice. And like I say, some of my best friends I met only 4 or 5 years ago through hiking.
Wow.
And we've remained really, really good friends since. And we do lots of other things other than just hiking. Travel together and things like that.
So say you've just come back from Iceland, haven't you?
I did, I went to Iceland in March. Iceland was absolutely insane.
Do you think you would have ever gone if you weren't into like the hiking sort of travelling? But no,
I think you're right. No, I wouldn't have done. No,
Wow.
Because obviously Iceland's a very rugged terrain,
Yeah,
and
it
it's not for people that aren't into the outdoors, that's for sure. Because even though there's not a lot of walking involved, because most of the attractions you do drive up to with your car, and it's just a short walk from the car park to whatever it is you're going to look at. But you have to appreciate the outdoors for it to be wow, and it is wow. It really, really is incredible.
Wow.
I mean, as you know, because I document all my travels and stuff on my social media platform, and it's a scrapbook of my adventures. And one of my favourite hobbies, I kid you not, is just sit and go through my own social media. It's almost like when people would sit with photo albums and go through and reminisce and things. Like, I do that because it reminds me of how incredible certain times were, and I've done a lot of travelling on my own as well, and I've done that because my little saying is I don't let other people's circumstances be my circumstances. So, for example, if people have got families and things and they're not able to get away, or they've got really demanding jobs and they can't get away, well, that's not my circumstance.
No.
You know, I'm in a different sort of place to you. So, rather than not go just because I haven't got somebody to go with, I would be limiting myself massively if I did that. And actually, in line with what we're talking about today, along with hiking, I would say the fact that I started travelling alone was one of the biggest, most empowering things that I've done since sort of coming out of, you know, what was a really toxic relationship for a start. It feels really, really empowering. And incredibly independent, probably a little bit too independent maybe, but you know,
I think that's lovely.
Yeah, that's good.
If someone is struggling, do you think, what sort of advice would you give? I think you've got loads of experience, haven't you, from when you've been low to, you know, where you are today.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to sort of just help them get through it, or what helped you get through it?
I think just being really, you can't always rely on other people. And so obviously everyone has their own stuff going on. And I think if you look into other people to prop you up, if you like, then that's probably not a great way to look at it. Obviously people will have family and friends, and I'm sure they will support, and they do whatever they can, but it's really quite important that you find the strength to try and find something that, you know, that I keep wanting to say the word fixes you. That's awful. You know what I say? That tries to improve the way that you think and stuff. And even if it's trial and error, you might, you know.
100% for that. I think it's got to be, hasn't it? Because whatever you do, even if it's reaching out for a support service to then help you on those next steps, not everything will work. And I think that's what I've learned is it takes time as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think if you're in a job that's making you miserable, get out of the job. In a relationship that's making you miserable, get out of the relationship. You know, whatever it be, life's too short. We only get one go at it. Do you know what I mean? And I think if there's something that you've got the power to change, that's ultimately going to make your life better and improve your mental health, then absolutely do it. And it will be one thing that you'll never regret. Of course it won't. Your mental health is so detrimental.
It is. And it can change so quickly, can't it?
Of course it
I think in taking those little steps, you know, and even if you are feeling, I think, ill, like even when I was at the lowest of my lowest, just being able to get outside or whatever it is, it might be going to the gym or, you know, seeing your friends, whatever that is, just try and force yourself to do it. There's so many times where I didn't want it, that you lock yourself away, I think, don't you, or you get too anxious to like leave the house. I know I did. You've just got to sort of force yourself and use that support around you to sort of get better.
And you may well be walking around like a bit like a zombie for a little bit, having to force yourself to do something that you probably don't feel like you want to do, but it will ultimately get better. It will just get better. You've just got to just keep moving on and if support services are what you need as well, I wouldn't have ever saw any shame in reaching out to people.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
It's just so it happens that I didn't in my case because I found a different way of managing.
It's about options, isn't it, I think, and not everything's like I didn't go for any formal support just because it didn't work for me, you know. I just didn't find like it would, but for other people it really will, and when we know it does, so you've just got to find what works for you and go with that, because if we all were the same, it'd just be boring, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. And one thing that I've noticed as well, I was telling we spoke about this sort of when we weren't recording, is my current line of work puts me in contact with a lot of local mental health services and other different organisations that support people with all manner of things. And actually, one of the things that's become really quite apparent through sort of reaching out to local communities is just how much is out there.
Yeah.
There is
That's
so
so
much
true.
support out there.
That's so
And
true.
it's not for a shortage of things being out there. I think
yeah.
it's just you've got to be willing to go and
Give it a
seek
go.
it out,
Yeah.
and just give it
Definitely.
a go, because it may well feel really quite uncomfortable.
Yeah. If anyone does want to, I guess, who is listening, to see what's out there, I'll put a link in the description to where you can access it. We've got a new sort of interactive page that you can visit for support and stuff. So, yeah, just because there's so much out there.
There really is.
And I think, like we were saying, it doesn't have to be those formal sort of mental health support things if you don't want. There's walking groups, there's you know darts groups, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
It can help, can't it? So I think that's really good.
Yeah.
Thank you. What's your final words of wisdom then for people?
Oh.
What's the Danielle message going to be?
I wouldn't say I'm wise in the slightest, but
I think you are.
I think we're all on this journey together at the end of the day, aren't we? And your journey is going to look very different to mine, although we've had some similarities in our career choices and maybe our experiences in relationships. Ultimately, how we've dealt with that and how we've come out the other end has been probably a completely different process, a completely different journey. And that's what people need to understand, that it looks different for everyone, and there's no one size fits all. And if it works for you, then it doesn't have to matter. Even if it's quite obscure, it doesn't matter. If it works for you and it helps, and it doesn't really matter what anybody thinks about what it is that you're doing. Just get out there and just enjoy what's around. Enjoy the freebies. Enjoy nature. It's free at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Granted, the petrol isn't to get there.
Petrol is not, no, but public transport, I better give that a shout out, haven't I? Lovely train travel.
Yeah, definitely seek out your options.
All the train providers,
definitely seek out your options, but just
even if it's just going to your local park and stuff, like we were saying earlier, just anything, isn't it? Just getting out, meeting people, walk to your local shops, you stop and say hi to someone, whatever it is, isn't it? It's
absolutely, So no real words of wisdom. I just think we're all uniquely different. Reach out to people if you've got people around you that you trust, or reach out to services. If you feel like that's going to be something that helps you, because there's so much of it out. And ultimately, if you want to spend a little bit of time on your own figuring out how you feel, get yourself outdoors. Give yourself some, peace and quiet, some time to think. But you know what will work for you, and
that's beautiful.
Do what works best for you.
Amazing, thank you. So, yes, thank you. I loved it. We've been waiting for this for ages, haven't we?
We had it in the diary.
We've finally done it, So thank you for sharing that with us. We'll put some links in, just the stuff that we've spoken about today. So if you do need support, any information will be in there. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast. It helps boost it and get it out to more people. And I'll put some links into the socials below. So do give them a follow. But, thank you.